Last week on Pokemon Cooked League, our Childon made a clear path to victory for the ShamWow Slowkings, while the Destructive Dragapults' undefeated run came to an end against the iHeart Ironhands. Will the ShamWow Slowkings capitalize after smelling blood, or the Destructive Dragapults come back even stronger? Welcome to our final match of Week 6. We have the ShamWow Slowkings versus the Destructive Dragapults. And first thing I see is the newly acquired Comfey is going to be making a debut. I think it's debut here. And there's a couple things to remember with Comfey. Comfey's ability allows you to use any move that heals with priority, but there is psychic terrain. So if you have a move that heals yourself or heals an ally immediately, that does work. But if you try to target something else, assuming they are on the ground, that is not going to work with the that is going to not work with the psychic terrain. So you have to be careful about that. I don't remember what these other abilities do, truthfully. I don't know what Flower Veil does. Looking at other mons here that I want to talk about. There are no obvious spore movies unless what's it called? Flower Veil stops spore somehow, but I don't think it does. I don't know. So yeah, you got to be worried about getting your team put to sleep, except if you have an item for it to stop it. But like, I highly assume like our Chaladon is safety goggles for Lumberry. There's no way Dracovish is Lumberry or safety goggles. So like, that leads with like 3-4 mons maybe that could possibly you could afford to run spore immunity on. And anything else here? Let's see, no, I think we can just get this match started, I'll say. Okay, so we have the very classic lead of Drifloon plus Tapu Lele. This allows a plethora of options like not priority Tailwind, but unburdened Tailwind, which might as well be priority just how fast it is. And Tapu Lele is the ability to hit something with a huge psychic, or even a Moonblast. There are some decent our Chaladon is very good at taking, you have some ways to deal with Psychic and Fairy kind of well. Slowking resists Psychic. Crocodile's immune to Psychic. You have to be worried though, because if he decides to click Moonblast on like one of your switch-ins, like on the Crocodile, then like you cry here. I don't know how useful this Drifloon. It could start Calm Bonding. That could be something it could do. I just don't know like what disruptive moves it could have, because like Will-O-Wisping these mons isn't really helpful. Shadow Ball can hit for okay damage against the Slowking here. But yeah, I just imagine some sort of big attack from the Tapu Lele trying to have to play this 50-50 game. And this Comfey and Slowking, I imagine are doing something like some sort of like Trick Room or something. Just something more tricky. I don't expect just like a standard attack from either of these here. Oh, we do have the own Psychic Seed too, to boost its special defense. So this is going to be really annoying to kill, especially with priority healing. And yep, there's the Trick Room, which I predicted here. I didn't know. Okay, so I guess Luring Voice does confuse you. You confuse the opponent if they raise the stat this turn. I didn't really think about Psychic Seed counting for that, because like it kind of happens as it's getting sent in. So that's a cute thing that is being brought here. The Comfey lost 65% of its health. The Moonblast looks like barely not enough. Does barely less than half here. So like if you're ever in a situation where you're like healing for half and then taking half, it looks like you're gonna barely win here. But now you got to start doing something with this Trick Room here. And neither Comfey or Slowking, they aren't the most threatening mons out there. They can output okay damage, but nothing that looks particularly great into either of these mons. So you have to start making use of these Trick Room turns here. You do have speed control here. It's just like, how do you make the most use of it? And then whenever a mon is confused, it's definitely so dicey. Because if you're if you I don't know, your last move is like acrobatic. I don't think it's acrobatics. That probably would have done more than Shadow Ball for sure, because against the special defense increase. But like, you can try to Shadow Ball the Slowking for like decent damage or something. But man, if you hit yourself, you just lose a turn and it feels so bad. Confusion is such an annoying mechanic. So this is you definitely get to see how tolerant the Destructive Dragapults are of risk, or even if he thinks or he may just switch because he doesn't think the Drifloom's even that good. But then you are getting rid of your Psychic Speed and a Burden, which would be a pretty huge sacrifice here. Another Psychic Seed. That's gonna eat that fairly well. And look at that, only 27% here. That's basically nothing. The Corviknight does get sent out here. I just realized there is no rain from the ShamWow Slowkings. So this Charcharodon does get the Psychic Seed boosted, and the problem without having the rain here is that you don't have Electro Shot, and Electro Shot was probably your best way of threatening Corviknight here. So I'm starting to worry about like Corviknight clicking like not bulk up or like Iron Defense body pressing you out of this game. But the fact that you have a special defense increase, that does mean you can run non-attacking moves like Protect, which is definitely something here. But I don't know what. Is there some other status move you'd like to run so much that you would be willing to like have like a Psychic Seed item that like only works once? Not sure. Drifloom can also like, if this Charcharodon's like mixed or something, like trying to like take hits from body press, you can also try to Will-O-Wisp it yourself. But I don't think that's necessary now. But again, it's like you switch this Drifloom in and out. It's like, when does it ever do something again? I'm not sure, but I wouldn't hate Will-O-Wisping the Charcharodon just for safety here. Because man, that Shadow Ball is just not doing enough here. But yeah, I think this is a pretty safe Iron Defense here. And the Trick Room's going to be start to use against him. I hope Slowking for the ShamWow Slowkings does have like Flamethrower or something to at least start to pressure down this Corviknight over time. Or like try to Scald Burn it. Getting a Scald Burn on it would be pretty huge here. Like, that's going to eat that for free. And here comes the Iron Defensing stuff. And we do get a Will-O-Wisp miss. Oh, and it's Dragon Tail. I did not know this gets Dragon Tail. And just ready for anything here. Just denying the setup immediately after. The Will-O-Wisp myth is very annoying here. And it's the Meowscarada, which is it's definitely not in a good spot here, especially with Trick Room up. I don't know what would have been better or worse. Like Dragapult, like, is not good. None of these switch-ins for the Dragon Tail are something you're happy to see. That's the main issue here. But yeah, Meowscarada definitely it's just like asking to like get body pressed here. And you still got 2 turns of Trick Room left. And it's just like, how do you... Again, I still like Will-O-Wisping the Charcharodon here. The Meowscarada is probably Sash. That's what we at least seen before. But I don't know, maybe you just say like, I'll just take my knockoff whenever switches into the Slowking slot. Or maybe you don't even knock off, you can like Flower Trick, just depending on what you think is gonna switch in. Because like against the Comfey, knockoff is worse. And against the Crocodile, the knockoff is a lot worse. So maybe just Flower Tricking the Slowking is just like a fair thing you can do. Get some reasonable damage on anything that switches in here, because everything's at least neutral. So I don't know, maybe the Meowscarada isn't as bad as I'm saying it is. But you do have to but like if you're targeting the Meowscarada here, I think you do have to double it just to make sure you just make sure because of Sash. That's the main issue here, is that the Meowscarada can get doubled and probably die. Slowking only has 1 attack left. Trick Room, Ice Beam, Dragon Tail. Maybe it's Scald. I think Scald makes a lot of sense here. Just has like an actual stab move that also has other upside like Burn. And man, this Drifloon just cannot get it together, man. Will-O-Wisp miss into hitting yourself into confusion. And that was probably another Will-O-Wisp attempt to the Archaludon for the body pressing Merchant. And like, even just getting any damage on this Archaludon is just so nice. Even if you get like an extra like 20% off of a burn, it definitely matters when Mon is bulky as this. But yeah, switching into Surfetched here, it's definitely in a good position, especially after the Meowscarada just protected. And this is definitely a very awkward spot here on the last turn of Trick Room. I don't think this Drifloon has... I'm probably just keeping the Drifloon in at this point. I don't think it has much left in it. And I'm probably just switching to Corviknight here. I think it's the only thing that, like, can be in the spot that's a fairly safe spot here. And since you've seen the Meowscarada just protect, you can just double that slot. So, like, I don't know, you can, like, CC plus, I don't know, just some attack. Like, you can Draco, you can, like, Flash Cannon. What other things do you one of them has to be protected? Because, again, why would you run Psychic Seed over Assault Vest? So, like, maybe you only have one more attack. Tapu Lele is definitely a risk here. Oh, not knockoff hurts. And that double is not going to be enough to KO here. And the Will-O-Wisp finally connects on the Archaludon. I am surprised that we are hitting the Archaludon and not the Surfetched. But maybe just saying that I can KO this Surfetch next turn here with just a Psychic or a Moonblast here. And then the Archaludon is just a scarier Mon. Because, like, I didn't think that or maybe just trying to think that this Surfetch is going to protect here, but finally get the Will-O-Wisp down. And now that the Trick Room's over, the Drifloon now has complete... the Destructive Dragapults now have total speed control again. Definitely had to cost some things. Barely... Let's see, the Comfey... You trade, like, the Comfey taking a decent amount of damage. The Slowking is still really healthy because of Regenerator. You did get a burn Archaludon, but two of your Mons are like very, very low here. So you got to figure out how your other 4 Mons, being Smeargle, Meowscarada, Corviknight, and Dragapult, can piece the rest together. But yeah, I imagine this is some sort of... Like, I can't imagine this Surfetch just like staying in here or like not protecting or something and like... I don't know, This is a tough call here, because, like, the Surfetch is also, like, prone to getting Will-O-Wisp, because, like, I want to, like, Will-O-Wisp here, the Surfetch, and, like, just in case it doesn't switch into Tapu Lele, can just, like, hit, like, a big Moonblast into something. There's also no Psychic Terrain, which weakens you a good chunk, but I don't think... You don't need to be clicking Psychic moves, at least at this point anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. But you can also set up Tailwind here, just for, like, you know, just for things in the future in the back, like the, maybe like a Choice Scarf, Draco Bash. But, yeah, this is... We've only seen 2 moves for the Drifloon. I'm assuming one is Tailwind and the other's probably just Protect, or maybe Air Slash or something. I don't know. Strength Sap. It could be Strength Sap. That's a good move. Getting a Strength Sap off would be pretty big here, but, no, I don't think Scrappy stops. I don't think Scrappy stops Strength Sap lowering attack, but that would be a pretty safe thing to click here. I mean, you can, like... I mean, it's still supporting Strength Sapping or Archaludon, at least for the attack decreasing thing. But, like, you can, like, do some sort of a compromise where, like, you can just use that as a full heal if you really wanted to here, if that is one of your moves. Slow. Okay, we're getting some decent. Okay, we're getting a little bit damage, and we're getting the special attack drop, which is definitely which is pretty annoying here. But like, you see you see how well this Slowking is taking these attacks. Like, Tapu Lele hits hard, and that's with a life orb, and it only took 30% here. So this Slowking is definitely very much a nuisance here, and now you have to like go through like how do you KO the Slowking? Because like I don't want another Trick Room or like something to be set up here, and if like the Slowking dies and like maybe your Corviknight in the back and like start trying to like bulking up and like not bulking up, iron defensing, start running the game with the iron defense body press. So like once the Slowking goes down, I do think the Corviknight's in a good spot here. But like, how do you get this Slowking down with the one with the regenerator, and two just like okay, yeah, you can send in the I don't know, like the Dragapult or something, and then like but the Archaeodon may just threaten to KO it immediately after with like a Draco Meteor or something. No, I don't think it's Draco. I don't think it can't be an attack. Why would you be running Psychic Steed here? It has to be. I has to be Protect or a status move. But like, I don't know. Maybe Meow is your best pick here. Again, like, Flower Trick is just kind of really hard to switch in at this point. Yeah, I think Meowscarada is fairly safe here. Yep, and that's what we see here. And what is this Drifloon doing here? I guess is the other thing. I don't think you could start Shadow Balling their Archaeodon to get a little bit more chip down. That is definitely something. Or you can like knock off plus like Shadow Ball, just like start doubling something. Or you can like Strength Sap to try to get its HP back if it is Strength Sap or Will-O-Wisp. But like, I don't know. I don't think a Shadow Ball is just doing that much damage to where like the damage is relevant. But maybe I'm wrong, because again, plus with that, any Shadow Ball chip plus burn might just like add up enough over time to where like it eventually leads to something. But like, yeah, I think I want to just double the Slowking slot with like knockoff plus Shadow Ball or knockoff plus like Will-O-Wisp here, depending what you send in here. And the Archaeodon can finally like take out something. You can break the Meowscarada Sash. That's definitely something. Or you can like finally KO this Drifloon. I think breaking Sash is maybe a little bit more important at this point. I don't know. This Drifloon just, I don't think is that threatening, at least for now. Yep, and this Crocodile is definitely going down here with the Okay, we do decide to KO the Drifloon. I don't hate it. The Crocodile was definitely looking like your weakest mon at that point. It was not Intimidate, so I think it might have been more Anger Point Cheese, which we have seen before. So Crocodile goes down. Slowking can regen back up to 70. Don't think that's it getting brought out right now. Probably either the like the Dracofish isn't terrible here. It could be Surfetched here. I think Corviknight's a pretty good mon to bring in right now, because I don't think the what's it called is coming in yet. The Slowking, just because, you know, knockoff / Flower Trick exists. But you can also send in the Smeargle here and start getting momentum with like mashing Spore, and maybe you do that before the game starts to become too late, because that honestly makes sense to me. That also makes sense to me here. Dracofish and Smeargle are speed tied, so if this is Choice Scarf Spore, then like that may be a coin flip at the end to like determine the game, honestly. Okay, we do see the Slowking here, which is kind of a surprise. And here comes the Smeargle. Now the Smeargle, now that the Slowking's out, is not in that good of a spot here, unless it has another move that it wants to click here, because like Flower Trick plus /knockoff still highly threatens Slowking here, and like you can't Spore the Archaeodon obviously because it's burn. So like, what is the Smeargle going to do here? Again, Smeargle can learn any move, so it can literally be anything. So, but you also don't want to like fake out the Archaludon because then like you're giving it more defense, which powers up body press and like makes it harder to KO. It's definitely rough. It's definitely not a great spot for Smeargle here. Maybe it's just like Spiky Shield and like read for something for later. But again, it also depends on the item here. But yeah, this looking... I wouldn't be too surprised if this looking Terror, and honestly, because if you get another Trick Room up, things start to become it starts to become really annoying for the Destructive Dragapults. So like Meowscarada hates Trick Room, Dragapult hates Trick Room, and Smeargle probably isn't a fan of Trick Room either. So like terroring to set up to ensure a Trick Room like doesn't sound like a bad idea to me, truthfully. Okay, Meowscarada with low kick. Was not aware this did get low kick here. And Lumberry on Dracovish is definitely not the move I was expecting here. I thought you really needed a Choice Scarf here to like outspeed some of these mons, but decides not. Flash Cannon, that does a lot of damage here. The Archaludon has successfully been chipped enough to where a Flower Trick, I think, would KO it. Oh, well, no, you lost Stab on Flower Trick, but like a low kick would also KO it. But now that you know that the Smeargle, the Dracovish is Lumberry, and if the Smeargle is Choice Scarf Spore, then like you just spore this Dracovish again. Like nothing wants to get spored here, so like. The idea of bringing Dracovish to eat a Spore, like, isn't the worst idea out there. But, like, you kind of just put yourself in the same spot again where, like, hey, now what? And that's, like, one of the, that also, like, makes you wonder, like, instead of Lumberry, was Safety Goggles better here? But like, the problem was Safety Goggles that you also don't want to get Will-O-Wisp by Drifloon. So, like, it's definitely a give or take here. But yeah, the Archaludon's finally been chipped enough to where it will go next turn. And if the Smeargle's Choice Scarf Spore, this is going to become an issue here. This was a very good pivot from the ShamWow Slowkings here. Get the Slowking in safely, have the Archaludon for a sack out later. And now that the Meowscarada doesn't have Stab on its Grass or Dark-type moves anymore, it can set up its own Trick Room here. But, again, I don't know if it's Choice Scarf Spore or not, or if it's, like, another item. Very well could, because, like, yeah, it's hard to say, because, again, these are Speed Ties, so, like, maybe he just didn't want to gamble with Speed Tie. And I do think Slowking is the biggest threat on this team here because of the Dragon Tail and just setting up Trick Room. So, like, I'd probably personally spore the Slowking before the Dracovish here. We don't know the Slowking's items. Like, maybe it's also, like, a berry, like Lumberry or Safety Goggles. It's possible with all the switching it does where, like, it's like, okay, I berry up and I can switch in and out again, but I don't know. Maybe that's a worry here. I don't know, but I am definitely more scared of the Slowking than the Dracovish here, because once the Slowking goes down, I do think, you know, you have Dragapult in the back, and you have Corviknight mashing Bulk up in the back to help clean up this game, it seems like. Okay, I will say I did not like doubling the Slowking at all here. Like, if you are gonna spore it, like, I don't mind that at all. I was actually, like, advocating for that. But, like, we didn't know the last move was Protect, which is, like, kind of in his defense here. But, like, if you spore, like, that's good enough, I would argue here. And now the Meow goes down. And now, let's see, Dragapult, can come in here. Dragapult can come in here. And I'm assuming that is what comes in here. And, like, you can, like, I don't know if, like, one hit of, like, Choice Band Dragon Dart KOs Dracovish. I don't know. Dracovish is not that bulky. and Drag, and I'm assuming this is Choice Band. That's all we have seen. But like, and we are going to see the Dragapult here. And the thing with Dragon Darts is that you can't really protect Dragon Darts, or also just immediately double into another slot. So maybe just thinking that, like, I don't know, like, it's fine if, like, the Meow goes down and I don't do much against the Slowking. I don't know, though. But yeah, this is... If you Choice Band Dragon Darts, the Comfey does just hard wall it. Which is something, but you still have Corviknight in the back that can clean up this. So this is a... If this is a time to Terra to make sure you can live and strike back against the Dragapult, now's your chance. You do know you can, like, hit with, like... Again, there's also the ability of Trick Room here, so, like, I do think you have to spore the Slowking, like, again. It's probably more of the threat, because, like, okay. Like, maybe this, like, Slowking lives, it sets up Trick Room, and now the Dragapult's just, like, free to get bullied by anything, like a knockoff from Surfetch, or literally just anything. How much does the Choice Band Dragon Darts do? It does not KO. And we see Ice Fang, and not a Dragon type attack, so the Dragapult does get to live. So that's a pretty big survival here. The Comfey comes in now. If I recall correctly, how Dragon Darts work is that if there's a Fairy type, it just doubles the Draco Fish? I could be wrong on that. And maybe I'm going to learn what Flower Veil does, and maybe that does prevent sleep. It could. I wouldn't be surprised. That does sound like something you could do. But man, we've seen 4 spores in 4 turns, but like, we'll see what happens now here. Oh, and gets the call right. Calls to protect on the Comfey for the Spore. And just spores the Dracovish here. And that is a huge, huge play here. I was not expecting that from... I was really not expecting Dragapult to switch in, but getting afraid of Terra. And now this Corviknight's in an excellent spot here. Where he can get a free Iron Defense. Or he can just start taking things out with, like, a Brave Bird. Or, like, just a stab type attack. While the Smeargle can just, like, start sporing the other slot here for free. And once you take out the Dracovish, I think you're just out of resources to clean up. You might be out of resources to clean up this game against a Surfetch. Like, the Surfetch probably can't get there against the Corviknight here, I would think. Okay, so we do see the Flora healing, getting a good chunk of healing against the Dracovish here. You did choose to set up click Iron Defense instead of just throwing out attacks, which definitely is paying off here against a more slow play. The Dragapult still stays asleep. It could maybe be asleep for one more turn. The Smeargle is currently doing nothing until something wakes up here, so you have to make a decision of, like, do I want to try to take out this what's it called, this Comfey, so my sporing, this has to be choice score, sporing is doing something, or do I want to get rid of, like, the actual more offensive threat of being the core of the Dracovish here? And I don't want to think you want to switch into Dragapult and anything, because it does die to, like, basically anything here. Dragapult's a pretty frail Pokemon. And we see the battle timer get put on. That's kind of disrespectful, but the Comfey gets the kill. And Dracovish stays asleep for 3 turns, which is very unfortunate. But what that means is that it is guaranteed to wake up next turn. But does that even matter at this point? We do have the Slowking here to maybe set up to Dragon Tail, I guess. But again, if this is not Lumberry or, like, some Spore immunity, he just gets spored again, and I start attacking the Slowking slot, truthfully, because then you can have your Choice Band Dragapult clean up with the Choice Band and Phantom Force there, and, like, the Dracovish is, like, not gonna get the power boost from Vicious Rend. So I think you just keep mashing, attacking the Slowking slot, because I'm not scared of Vicious Rend at this point. Yep, another Spore. Body Press. Does not do enough. Vicious Rend does KO. But the problem is that because it KO'd, you no longer can Dragon Tail the Slowking here. And now the Dragapult does come in for free here, very safely. And you can choose to either Dragon Darts or Phantom Force. I'm trying to think what's the safer play here. I think it's Phantom Force. Because if you can Phantom Force and then body press the Draco Bash. I don't know actually, because like if Dragon Darts can like KO Draco Bash. Well, I guess how is the Corviknight ever dying to a Slowking plus a Surf Edge? So maybe just Dragon Darts here, start getting your chip in on the things, and then you can like KO Draco Bash, do good damage to Slowking, and then like a +2 body press or like another move can start cleaning up the Slowking eventually. And that Dragon Darts is gonna be the call here, and that is definitely gonna pay off here. Because another Choice Band and Dragon Darts plus the Corviknight would have to imagine will be enough to clean this game up. All that does is make the Dragon Darts double into the Slowking here, so that's not great. Slowking stays asleep here, and that is going to do it. Definitely a close game here. This was there was definitely one of those calls where where he just spored where he just ignored the Comfey slot and just spored something else, which was pretty huge here. But yeah, for the hopes of the ShamWow Slowkings, they are 3-3 right now. They play against me next week, and that match might determine their playoff spot. So we'll see what happens to them. That's gonna do it for me. I'll see you soon. Bye.